Okay, so welcome to this brief video on air quality. Today I'm delighted to have with me Agata de Ru. She leads strategy and programme development for the EU portfolio of the Clean Air Fund. So thank you so much for joining me, Agata. I wonder if you could briefly start by describing or telling us a bit more of what the Clean Air Fund is.
Hi, thanks for the invitation. Clean Air Fund is a global philanthropic organization funding projects to reduce air pollution. We are based out of several countries on the planet, covering Europe, India, and Africa at the moment, and expanding globally. Our aim is clean air for all, and obviously we're at different stages of advancement towards a cleaner future in different places, and my job is to accelerate that mission in Europe.
Okay, thank you. And obviously it seems like common sense that good air quality is good for you, but I wonder if I mean, for example, I'm only aware of one death certificate that had air pollution as one of the causes. I wonder if you could briefly explain why air quality is so important for human health.
It's important for several reasons, but the health aspect of it is the prime focus of ours. In the EU, as many as 300,000 people die prematurely of air pollution. You're right that you will not see many death certificates with air pollution being the cause. That has to do with legislation more so than with the actual state of affairs. Sadly, there are many people either dying prematurely or experiencing different types of illnesses due to air pollution, anything from asthma to high blood pressure, etc., etc. So it is a very, very significant negative impact of high air pollution. There are benefits to clean air that come with obviously the kind of better lifestyle and livelihood of citizens, but also with socioeconomic aspects that have to do with the transition that happens along the way, in that if we transition from solid fuel burning in residential heating to cleaner heating technologies, that reduces the cost of energy. Also, typically the more polluted areas will be the lower income areas. So we are reducing exposure of lower income neighborhoods. And there's obviously important positive aspects of better air quality to climate change that result from different interventions, including those around sustainable transport.
Sure, sure. So would it be fair to summarize the health effects as largely cardiovascular? So air pollution is causing premature deaths from things like asthma attacks, strokes, heart attacks, and so on. That, you know, if somebody has a heart attack, the doctor or isn't necessarily, or the coroner isn't necessarily going to know that it was brought on by air pollution, but the science tells us that it's a significant contributor in that as a factor that caused their death.
Indeed, but I'll also say in terms of like health impacts, there's a large number of people dying prematurely from air pollution, but there's also an even bigger number of people who live with certain types of disease, and that is significantly impacting their daily lives. And those span from what you were describing to brain impacts and to cognitive skills of people at different ages, children, adults, older adults. So there's quite a bit to it. That's why we do believe that it cannot be underestimated.
Yeah. And then I understand that in Europe there are regulatory moves to improve air quality. I wonder if you could tell us very briefly what the implications of the revised European Ambient Air Quality Directive are.
2 years ago, the World Health Organization introduced new air quality guidelines, and the European Union is now revising their Ambient Air Quality Directive to align more closely with the latest guidelines to protect human health. So the implications would be massively positive in terms of addressing the number of premature deaths. They will be also beneficial to the fight against climate change, specifically around reducing black carbon. And then also the European Commission estimates that for every €1 spent, 7 will be returned to the country that invests in better air quality. So there's also significant economic impacts of that.
And presumably monitoring has an important role to play.
Indeed. So we've got different types of air quality monitoring. Obviously the state-of-the-art reference grade stations that countries across Europe do deploy. Those are as accurate as it gets, and those are used for official reporting of member states and used by the European Environmental Agency and the Commission in their analysis. But a new range of technologies to deploy the so-called low-cost sensors is currently being developed. They have different types of uses than the reference grade stations, and typically are coupled with the former to help monitor air quality at a hyper-local level. But at the same time, they are not as accurate, and their lifetime is not as long.
And I guess so they're kind of indicative monitors that help you understand or find pollution hotspots and also presumably help you measure the effects of mitigation measures.
Indeed. So they are a great tool for awareness raising. They can be used by individuals, or they can be used by municipalities to help inform the society about the levels of air quality at any given time, but also to help inform their policies. If there are any air pollution hotspots, say in a city, local sensors can help identify them. So they do have utility. I'll say that probably future investments in this type of technology will be welcome.
Sure. And so with technologies developing, with regulations developing, how optimistic are you that Europe will achieve its air quality goals?
I am optimistic. We have funded research in a few European countries, including those in Eastern Europe, who we know are, for historical reasons, more polluted than Western European countries, specifically when it comes to PM 2.5. And with support that can be funded through EU funds on top of the national funding, we know for a fact that they can achieve shorter term the interim WHO guidelines, and then longer term also full alignment with certain exceptions. But for the most part, it is attainable. And what it takes for most countries in Europe, and specifically in Eastern Europe, is phase out of coal and wood or biomass in residential heating.
Mm.
So what's needed is financial support to aid households with that transition. This has to be coupled with energy efficiency improvements. So households need to be better insulated. And obviously it has to be coupled with awareness raising, because even if a good subsidy scheme exists and it's being deployed at a good rate, the further we go, the harder it gets to get to the households that have not done it yet. So typically they will be either unaware or unwilling to do so for various reasons, including the fear of change. And the second big component of it is transport. So again, specifically in Eastern Europe, the fleet will be older, often second-hand vehicles imported from often Western European countries, and that fleet has to be gradually replaced. But we're, for air quality purposes, we are primarily focusing on the oldest, most polluting vehicles. So we're talking about vehicles that are 20 years old or more, and primarily diesel vehicles.
Okay, but nevertheless, there are reasons to be cheerful and optimistic.
The reasons to be cheerful and optimistic, we know that it's technically possible. It will take quite a bit of an effort, because we know that it's not all down to technology. We know that there's got to be awareness, there's got to be political will, and there's got to be regulations and funding to support it. So it's complex, but I think the EU is on the right trajectory to get there.
Excellent. That's great. Thank you so much for your time today, Agata. Much appreciated.
Thank you.